Shalom. The weekly Torah reading of Bo is the beginning of Jewish time. It is fascinating to see in every culture the concept of time, how you see a day, a month, a year, and what is the beginning point. For Islam, the beginning point is the migration of Muhammad from Mecca to Medina at the year 622. For Christianity, it is the birth of the Christian Messiah 2021 years ago. In Jewish tradition, from the times of the Mishnah, after the destruction of the Second Temple, until our times, we count to the creation of the world. 5,771 years ago, according to Jewish tradition. But that is not the biblical counting. That is not the biblical calendar. The biblical calendar starts Jewish time with the birth of a Jewish nation, of the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months." So this revelation over here is the first day of the first month of the first year of the biblical calendar. Hundreds of years later, the dedication of a temple by King Solomon, it's mentioned 480 years to the Exodus. This is the beginning point. From here we count. And let's come to the commandment on the first day of the first month of the first year. Speak to the whole community of Israel and say that on the 10th of this month, each of them shall take a lamb to a family, a lamb to a household. And it continues to say, you need to keep this lamb until the 14th. So if you wanted to take the lamb in the last moment, try not to show that you're part of this new community, the new peoplehood that rebels against the Egyptian master. That is not an option. Perhaps you would like to hide it in your home so your Egyptian master will not know. You cannot do this secretly. Identity is being part of the group. And on the 14th day, the commandment continues. The assembled congregation of Israelites shall slaughter it at twilight. They shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and the lintel of the houses in which they are to eat it. So the people of Israel are commanded to have the celebration at the same time, everybody in the community. And then mark the homes. The doorpost, in Hebrew, the word for doorpost, mezuzah. So this is the first time that the doorpost is going to protect the Israelite home. Later on in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 and in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 11, it will be said to put certain words on the doorpost, on the mezuzah, which we do in Jewish traditional homes until today. Coming back to our story, they shall eat it roasted over fire, with unleavened bread, matzot, and with bitter herbs. This is how you shall eat it. You need to be showing your faith in freedom. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, your staff in your hand. Show that you're in a hurry to go and that you intend to leave Egypt with your family. A very clear intention towards freedom. What you see in the background over here are the Samaritans that celebrate Passover today, 21st century, in the exact same manner that is described here in the Bible. It is fascinating to come and witness this celebration on Mount Gerizim here in Israel. So if you're up to it, next Passover, God willing, we'll have no more plague, and that can be a wonderful idea. Coming back to our story. And the blood on the houses where you are staying shall be a sign for you. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. In Arabic, the word fischa means to skip. to pass over. In Hebrew, Pesach, Lifsoach, also a term that Elijah uses in the book of Kings. Until when are you skipping on both options, he asked, and he uses the Hebrew word Pesach. So Pesach to skip, the plague will skip the people of Israel. Still, I'm reminding you, all of this is being said on the first day of the first month of the first year, where there's a huge dilemma if to take the risk and rebel against the Egyptian empire. So why would I choose to risk my family? Let's continue to read in Exodus chapter 12. This day shall be to you one of remembrance. You shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord throughout the ages. This is not just about you. It is about your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. You shall celebrate it as an institution for all time. It's not thinking about yourself. It's thinking about the future. Now you're eating this matzah, this unleavened bread, but this will be remembered in this celebration. And every detail of the holiday of Passover is already here on the first day of the first month of the first year. And it continues to make a promise. One day, when you enter the promised land, as you are promised, you shall observe this holiday. And your children will ask you, why are we observing it? And then you will tell them. I believe that there's a huge message here. The reason that the people of Israel, being enslaved for so many generations, could take upon themselves such a rebellion is because they were able to lift up their eyes and look forward and look towards the tomorrow, towards the future, towards their children and grandchildren. And also today, I believe that people who manage to do exactly this, to lift up their eyes, to remember what we are fighting for, who we are fighting for, how we want to design the future. If these questions are asked seriously and efforts are done, so indeed, we may be on our way to the promised land. Shabbat Shalom.